Atheist Nomads, episode 348, Sparky on Ice, with Robert Ray.
The podcast you're about to listen to includes cursing and talking about hoo-haws. Please be advised.
Welcome to another episode of Atheist Nomads. I am Dustin, and in a little bit we'll be talking to Robert Ray, who's back in North America after spending more than a year in Antarctica. And we have a really good discussion about, what it was like there and how life was at a scientific research facility basically at the end of the world. So, hope you look forward to that. But as we've been doing since switching to doing more interviews, I'm going to be opening up with covering a couple of news items that really have kind of got my attention. Maybe a bit more of an emotional response out of me. So today, as of recording, which I'm recording this part, Wednesday night, March 25, Idaho has joined a bunch of other states, I think most states at this point, and most of Europe in a lockdown, and actually a lot of Asia too, in a lockdown. So a shelter-in-place order has gone into effect. Since I work in healthcare, I am actually exempted from that, but I am in a non-essential role at the hospital, and I can do my job from home, so I am working from home. And will, under the current plans for the foreseeable future, we'll be making roughly 2 trips in every other week for an hour or so at the hospital, but keeping it to a bare minimum. And me and another person are trading off which weeks we need to go in. So keeping it to a minimum. And so this order does, one of the key things that they're really pushing with it is don't go to small mountain towns. Like if you're in Boise, don't go up to McCall or to Stanley. They're little towns. They don't have the resources to handle this when the disease hits, and they don't need people coming from the bigger cities to spread it there. That should be a no-brainer, but apparently it needed to be pushed, and in Governor Brad Little's announcement, he did say that if necessary, he will be activating the National Guard, which I suspect means if people keep on going to small mountain towns to try to get away from the virus, there will soon be National Guard units stopping you from doing that. And I don't think anybody wants to see that. Interestingly, this order is in effect for 3 weeks, 21 days, and it will expire unless rescinded or extended on April 15. So 3 days after Easter. And Idaho's order is very detailed as to what you can and cannot do. Attending church services is prohibited because it is a large public gathering, and all public gatherings are prohibited. So can't go to church, and that will apply to Easter, which is April 12th. So that's interesting. But in the list of essential businesses, they did include firearms businesses. So the gun store is open, but the church is closed. This is a public health emergency. They don't need to worry about either the First or Second Amendment for this. Seriously, this is public health. Guns don't help fight viruses. They did not need to keep gun stores open. Lauren just chimed in with, guns don't kill people, viruses do. God damn. Now, in Michigan, their shelter-in-place order did specifically exempt churches, which the governor, Gretchen Whitmer, Democrat, has gotten a lot of criticism for. And her response as to why churches were exempted was the separation of church and state, and the GOP members of the legislature trying to force their hand on it. And that's frustrating and stupid that they thought this was a church-state separation issue. This is a public health emergency, and in public health emergencies, states do not have to respect basic rights like that. That is an inherent part of dealing with an emergency. And especially when you have churches with hundreds or thousands of people gathering in small places, shaking hands, mingling, talking, doing all these things, not able to, in any way, maintain 6-foot distances. That is just inviting spread. And there are churches who have been actively pushing for members to come who have COVID-19 to test their faith or to come be healed. When the churches are being stupid, the state needs to step in. And it's disappointing that Michigan and several other states are letting churches be stupid, and it's actually nice to see that Idaho isn't. It's rare that we get to give props to something the Idaho government does, but this is one where we can. Donald Trump, who of course can't talk about this crisis in the U.S. without talking about Trump's incompetent handling of it, has finally recently called for a 15-day self-isolation for everyone in the U.S. Idaho has gone with 21 days. And it is worth noting that Idaho is now over 100 cases, confirmed cases, and that is confirmed with very limited testing. And Trump only wants 15 because he doesn't think the economy can handle it, and he would like to get the nation open by April 12, so by Easter. Because if you want to appease the religious right, you need to make sure they think that you care about them getting to go to church on Easter. Even if that means that after you give the virus more time to percolate through the population, you then open it up for very, very large gatherings so it can spread. So if Trump gets his way, everything's going to have to be shut down again just a few days later. Or actually more likely, 14 days later when all of those people end up sick. And interestingly, the Vatican has a better view on it than Trump does. They have announced in their guidance to priests and bishops in the Catholic Church, they do think that the Easter does need to be celebrated. They are encouraging canceling the optional events and complying with any and all local restrictions. So if there is a shelter-in-place order where a Catholic church is, then that church should remain closed. The priest or bishop should still go through the ceremony and live stream it for members to watch so that they can take part without being exposed to a deadly virus. Yeah, that means they aren't going to be able to take Mass. That also means they aren't going to be able to get the virus spread to them through Mass, where the priest literally places the cup on the person's mouth and has everybody drink from the same cup. That's not something you want to be having happen during a big, ugly pandemic. And and I'm sure a few of our listeners would fall in into this category, but if you think these reactions are over the top, we've already missed the mark on being able to contain the virus. So we're stuck with having to try to slow its spread, because what happens if, and actually more accurately at this point, when it gets out of control, is not only are hospitals going to be filled beyond capacity and having to go to surge capacity, taking over hotels and setting up tents to move patients into, which is already starting to happen in New York. That's where you also get healthcare workers getting taken down by the virus, as we're seeing in Italy and Spain, which further exacerbates a limited healthcare system. You have supplies running out, which is already happening basically everywhere. And if the hospital's full and you have a heart attack, they don't have the capacity to take care of you. If you get in a car accident, they don't have the capacity to take care of you. The simple fact is that if the healthcare system is overloaded to the point of collapse, a lot of people are going to die unrelated to the thing that is killing most of them, because the necessary healthcare services that they need just won't be available. That's what we're trying to avoid. Now, that hasn't stopped Trump from actively making things even worse by being a complete fucking idiot. In a tweet and on Fox and Friends, Trump said, hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin taken together have a real chance to be one of the biggest game changers in the history of medicine. The FDA has moved mountains. Thank you. Hopefully they will both. H works better with A, International Journal of Antimicrobial Agents, ... So this prompted doctors to start writing prescriptions for themselves and their families to get these medicines secured for themselves. Enough so that even in Idaho, they've had to issue an emergency order to pharmacies to only fill prescriptions for those if there is a supporting diagnosis. These treatments are experimental. They are being attempted. This drug combination is being attempted in some hospitals under a compassionate use exemption the FDA granted, but there is zero evidence that they work. They're trying it out, hoping that hydroxychloroquine will help with the virus and azithromycin will help with the bacterial pneumonia. There isn't evidence yet that this is effective, so unless you have a doctor prescribing it for you, you should not be doing it. And if you are a doctor trying to get advantage of it to try to get it before it runs out, you are why it has run out and patients who need it cannot get it. Because hydroxychloroquine was created as an anti-malarial drug, and it also works to help with a lot of autoimmune diseases like lupus. And there are people who need it for lupus who can't get it. That also likely means there are people who need it for malaria treatment who can't get it either. And if Z-Paks are running out and you get pneumonia, well, you don't have that available. So this has caused a run on medications that are, again, experimental for this use and being taken by people who don't need them. They won't prevent infection. They might help with treatment, but at the point they're going to help with treatment, you're already in the ICU. So this isn't something that you should be taking at home. This is something that if you're going to be taking it, it's going to be administered by a doctor when you are basically not conscious. This is fucking reckless and dangerous, and it has already killed at least one person, nearly two. A couple in their 60s were watching Fox News and heard Trump talking about this. The wife recognized chloroquine as a chemical they use in their fish tank to deal with some parasitic infections that they've dealt with there. So to protect them from getting COVID-19, she mixed up a cocktail of, I don't know what else, but plus that, and she and her husband drank it. He died, and they were able to get her to vomit the poison out of her gut. What they took was a non-medical form of the drug. It's actually a different chemical, and it is poison to humans. Heck, this is one of those things. The reason it's used is that it is a poison for the parasites. Don't mess around with poisons. You know, the government is supposed to be the source of truth in a crisis. They are supposed to be the ones that help keep idiots from killing themselves, but when we've got an idiot in chief taking over all the press conferences, this is killing people. Trump's incompetence and inaction and minimizing of it and misinformation and making it all about himself is killing people. Well, that's depressing, and we'll take a quick break and come back with the interview. And we are now joined by Robert Ray. He was last on this podcast for the episode that went out December 31st, 2015. That was episode 127 about the original Motto Project. And before that, he was on episode 34, which went out September 5, 2013. So this is your third time on Atheist Nomads. Robert, welcome back. It's been a while.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on.
It's always a good time.
You let me back.
Dude, you just spent almost a year in Antarctica.
Yeah, that was an interesting time.
There is not a chance that I would not want to talk to you about that.
Yeah, I know. It's fun to talk about. So
all right, but yeah, your life has definitely been moving along because, you know, when we first had you on the show, you know, you were running the Humanists of the North Puget Sound, and then you moved on to the original Motto Project, and then that ended, right?
Or
did you just hand it off?
I tried handing it off and it didn't work out so well, so I just sort of ended it. I just don't have the resources to keep up with it.
Right.
And I'm going to let the other larger groups, because now that issue has become so huge that those FFRF and American Atheist and the AHA, they really stepped in, and I'm no longer needed in that realm.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I did a good job bringing awareness to it and keeping it in the headlines, so to say,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. My brain's still foggy from Antarctica, so
That's got to be some crazy jet lag.
oh yeah.
It's got to be some crazy
It's-
self-isolation.
Okay,
humdrums.
so let's get to the real thing, though. So you passed that
Okay.
one off, and then you moved to Montana,
That is correct.
to one of my favorite places in the world.
Yep, I live in northwest Montana, Kalispell, and I am 45 minutes away from Glacier National Park.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, man, the first time I ever went to Kalispell.
We've got to go when it's a little bit more open.
Yeah.
But the wildflowers were amazing. We
Best
went-
time to go is late June, early July, and that way you still get the glacier lilies.
Yeah. Oh, I love glacier lilies.
We were there mid-June.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so anyway, so you moved up to Montana, and then you went to Antarctica.
That is correct, because I couldn't get isolated enough here, so I decided to go there.
Wow, so you leave the Puget Sound, move to a relatively small city in Montana, and then go to the end of the world.
Yes, that is correct.
Do penguins make better conversationalists?
No, they're annoying little shits.
Okay, that's awesome. They do probably poop everywhere.
Yeah, they do. They make a mess. They smell. They stand in the middle of the road and annoy you.
And they have more right to be there than you. So
That is correct. We
Yeah.
can't touch them. We can't move them. We can't herd them. We can't yell at them. We can stand there and look at them. That's what we can do.
oh,
You
wow.
wouldn't really want to, though, right? Because they're so
Well,
sweet.
No. If I have a job to do and they're in my way, I'm like, move.
Well, and
You know,
with the weather changes there, it might be your only chance to get the job done.
exactly. So if I'm heading out to the airfield, say it's mid-June, well, they wouldn't be there in June, but like in the middle of January, right? And out on the ice field, there's a storm moving in. You got to get the lights working or whatever you're trying to do out there. And there's an emperor penguin in the middle of the road. and you're screwed. You're like, oh, well, I'll just sit here and wait.
Oh,
You know,
that is so
that's-
cool.
that's exactly what happens.
I didn't realize you were hanging out with the emperor penguins. That is amazing.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah, we
watched
had
March of the
emperors.
Penguins, and you're like, motherfuckers.
Yeah, we had emperors and adelis. Sadly, they
Aw.
weren't the most annoying birds in all of Antarctica.
Oh,
Was it the gulls?
Yeah, the skuas is what they're called.
Oh,
okay.
They are really big, aggressive seagulls.
because
And
they're
they
the
make
universal assholes. Besides maybe the Canada goose.
Yeah, well, they're also very smart, and they know what human food looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So you could cover it with saran wrap or aluminum foil or even another plate. They still know you have food.
Oh, wow.
They're like, yeah,
And
you're
they're
not
like,
tricking
"Oh."
me.
Dive bomb.
All right. So
yeah.
I think we're getting sidetracked before we even really get properly started with this one.
Right.
So you went off to Antarctica to do well. For let's start off with, how did you get a job in Antarctica?
Well, when I moved to Montana, I had a job lined up, but didn't work out. So I was like, okay, got to look for a job. So put my resume online and all that fun stuff. And then somewhere around October of 2018, a guy called me up from one of the recruiter websites or whatever. And he's like, hey, you want to go to Antarctica? They're looking for electricians. I mean, I don't know. Let me think about it. And then a couple days later, I called him back and said, sure, I'll try it. Probably won't get to go, but whatever, we'll try. And so I started the process. And
Okay.
that's a pretty long, drawn out process. There's a physical qualifier you got to do. So you have to be reasonably physically fit. Basically, they don't want you to die.
Mhm. Which
Yeah,
that's
that's
got to be
basically-
really interesting right now.
Yeah. So they do full physical, including the nice finger colon check. That's
Yep.
lovely. Thank you.
Well, they want to
And,
make sure you don't have a cancer that might need treatment
well-
while you're out there.
That is true. What was weird is that the doctor that did it said, we don't even do this on anybody anymore because it doesn't work.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow,
But-
really? Prostate exams aren't effective?
They have more effective ways to do it now.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That's what he was telling me. They have better ways to do it, so they don't do it that way anymore. But the NSF says, yeah, we still like you to do that. So they still do it.
There's also some pretty good evidence that the PSA is not a valid check on the prostate.
That's true. So, I'm okay with it. It's just, real quick, done,
Yeah.
whatever.
All right. Yeah.
Then there's the dental PQ you got to go through, make sure you don't have any cavities, your teeth aren't going to fall out, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Then,
Okay.
So then you get the
'cause there's
physical
no-
sign off.
Right. And then you get your background check, drug test, and all that. Okay. You're all done with that. You get your contract, you signed it, because you are a contractor with the federal government at that point.
Okay.
Then you got to buy all your gear.
You have to buy it
spend-
yourself.
Well, they supply the Big Red, which is the goose down coat, which is synonymous with Antarctica,
That's so cool.
which is,
You get
it's
to keep it, right?
oh, God, no.
What? There's
No,
we
thanks.
only ever made 50 of them, so give them back.
Mine was from, the one they gave me was from like 2011.
Hmm.
They have dates on them. So mine was has been around since 2011.
Oh, wow.
They keep reusing and patching, and, those things are like $1,800 a piece.
Yeah.
So, they gave us Carhartt insulated bibs and a coat and some winter gear, but all of our clothing and thermals and extra stuff we have to purchase.
Okay.
Bastards.
Yeah, I know, but which is fine because I got to pick out the thermals I wanted.
Right. So you get to pick out your own long johns, and it's all
Right.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
and they do supply some wonderful bunny boots. I don't know if
No.
you've seen them, but they are these white rubber things that are air-filled. And that's what they give out to
Whoa.
most of the people going down. They're
Uh,
incredibly
is it
warm.
the military cold weather boot?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Those are nice.
Yeah. Depends.
Like you could curb stomp an elephant with those.
Or an
Yeah, but
emperor
I would-
penguin.
Oh,
Or
God.
ember, yeah.
Oh, no.
But they are the most uncomfortable things ever.
Oh, well, that
Okay, cold weather boots and military boots are both known for not being comfortable.
Right.
Combine those
So-
together, and that just sounds really bad.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was basically wearing a big rubber boot is what it is.
All right.
But I wore those 3 times while I was down there. Once for the airplane trip down, once for the helicopter trip over to Black Island, and once for the plane trip home.
Okay.
I had my own boots, so
You're like, screw those.
Yeah.
yeah.
They're like uniform. You're just like, I'm only wearing this if I absolutely have to.
When they were required, I even tried to get out of that.
All right. So then you get all your gear, and you pass the physical, and you sign your contract, and then you fly down, right?
Right. I had about a week's notice because as soon as my dental PQ went through, they wanted me down there because I was a replacement electrician.
Oh, wow. 1 week.
Yeah. 1 week. That's how much time I had to prepare once my PQ was done. They actually were like, well, we got a plane Friday, and it was Tuesday. I'm like, no, it's too soon.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, yeah, can we do next week? So I had to get all the stuff ready, do all the paperwork that needs to be done while I'm gone so the wife can take care of everything. And then start packing. So you're allowed 85 pounds of luggage. And that's it.
All right.
So
That's
And,
tough for a prolonged trip.
right. It's not like I'm going for a week.
And do the
But-
bunny boots count in that?
Yes, all your ECW counts in that as well, unless you're
Ooh.
wearing it.
Oh, okay. So that's why you wear it on the plane.
Yes. Well, and they require you to wear it on the plane.
Okay. All right.
In case you crash, then you have your ECW on.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's horrible, actually. Have you ever imagine sitting in a regular 757. I came home on a 757, and you're in your Big Red and your bibs and your bunny boots, and there's 2 other people roughly your size in the seats with you.
Ooh. Yeah, that doesn't sound pleasant.
No. Yeah, that was fun. The trip down was on an LC-130, which was actually worse, oddly enough.
Wow. They're making this not very pleasant for you, considering that you're doing them a favor.
Were you in jump seats or something?
Yeah, we were in jump seats, and we were in full ECW, and they turned the heat on.
Oh.
I was like, you bastards.
Oh, damn.
So, and it's an 8-hour trip on the LC-130.
And that's from New Zealand?
Yeah, from Christchurch, New Zealand.
8 hours.
8 hours. And they have what they call a boomerang, point of no return, PNR, which is 4.5 hours out on an LC-130. So if you make it out past 4.5, you're going to land in Antarctica. However, if you're on one of the jets, there is no point of no return. They could fly down, circle, and fly back because they have enough jet fuel to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, those C-130s are really good at what they do, but not great for anything else.
No.
They can do almost anything if it's relatively short distance.
Yeah. They have like a max 10-hour fly time.
Yeah. Okay. Which, realistically, that's not bad.
No, not really.
Unless you're flying to Antarctica.
Yeah. Ours are the skied ones because they land on the snow runway.
Oh. And
the jets land on the ice runway. Yeah, there is a difference.
Okay.
This all sounds like so much fun, though. Like, I would be glued to. I'd have to have there are windows, right?
Oh yeah.
I would be glued to the window the whole time.
Yeah, they're like ports, so you got to like halfway stand up to look out of them. But I saw mostly wing and some ice.
Mm-hmm.
I would have probably still taken 200 pictures.
Right, because
it took a bunch.
You'd have like 7.5 hours of looking at water.
Yeah. And
then a little bit of looking at ice, and then you land.
Or, pretty much. Socializing with people? No, none of that.
It's actually impossible on the LC-130 because it's so loud. You can't talk to people near you because the fuselage is not very thick and you're turboprops.
Mm-hmm.
So you're wearing usually earplugs, so you can't hear anything anyway. So pretty much all communication is hand signals and gestures.
Mm.
Okay, yeah, that just sounds awful. That's back to being awful.
All right, so you get on the ground, and then it's just like the thing, right? You've got dog sleds and aliens and drunk Norwegians.
Please, yes, drunk Norwegians. So good.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah. No dogs in Antarctica. They stopped having those back in the 60s or 70s.
Oh.
Forgot exactly when. Apparently they carry a disease that can kill penguins, I think is what it was.
And
you were like, bring them on.
A disease that can kill penguins? Or
I think
was
that's
it the thing?
That could have been. I don't know.
The thing kills Oh, God.
Yeah, it might have been in the 80s that they stopped it. I don't remember exactly when, so.
That's awesome. That's I'm sorry. I love that movie, and that's I'm sure that's the last thing you want to talk about.
Actually, at South Pole, right after the last plane leaves, they show that in the galley down there every year.
Nice.
Okay, that's cool. That's a cool little tradition to have.
Yeah.
All right, and so then, which station were you at?
I was at McMurdo Station,
and that's the big one.
That's the big one, yeah. That's America's big one. We have 3. We got Palmer, which is just south of Argentina. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the South Pole, obviously, and then McMurdo is straight south from Christchurch.
So kind of like halfway between Christchurch and the South Pole, or a lot more the South Pole side of it.
We were only 750 miles from the pole, so it was a lot closer to the South Pole.
But still, 750 miles is a ways.
Yeah.
Did you ever make it to the South Pole?
I did not.
No, you were pretty much just base personnel, right?
Yeah. And after hearing some of the stories of people from Pole, I don't think I want to go.
Oh, really?
Oh, it is god-awful cold there.
Well, yeah, but you're already like so freaking cold. How much colder does it get?
The average temperature in the summer there is like negative 25 to negative 30.
Okay.
And then in the winter, you can hit negative 60, negative 70.
Yeah, that sucks.
Right, because where you were at is basically sea level.
Yeah.
and 700 miles north of the South Pole, whereas the South Pole Station is like 8,000 feet above sea level and literally on the pole.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that high.
Yeah, it's on 2 miles of ice.
That's awesome.
Oh, so more like 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like 9,700 feet, something like that.
Nice.
Wow, that'd be cold in a temperate region.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's interesting is that the South Pole hardly gets any real wind because of the way that the polar weather works. The wind comes down at the pole from the atmosphere, right? So it brings out cold air, but it's not moving very fast. It's only when it passes the trans-Antarctic range is when it picks up speed.
Oh.
As it's going across the plateaus, it picks up all that speed.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So we'd have 50, 60 knot winds, and the pole's got like 7.
I hate you guys.
Yeah, but they're still colder.
Wait, 50 and 60 knot winds. So we're talking like hurricane force.
Yeah, pretty close.
Not a big deal.
Well, I mean, when we hit 50 knots, we were like, yeah, it's pretty windy out.
All right. And what was your job like there?
So I'm an electrician there, and our job was to make sure that things didn't break or got fixed when they broke, or do various projects throughout the station to upkeep it or improve it. Basic electrical stuff.
The electrical handyman.
Yeah, that's what I do.
All right. So runway lights go out. Do you fix that? Or is it just if the wiring to the lights go out, you fix that?
Nope, we fix the lights too. Okay. I learned a lot about antique runway lights.
Oh, man.
Because we still have system that was put in. I mean, the system was put in like 10 years ago, but it was already 15 years old when it was put in. So,
because they got it on discount off of eBay from some collector.
Or hand me down from the Air Force.
Yeah, pretty much. So the new systems use like electronics and, cool stuff like that, like diodes and things. We still had capacitors and transformers, like big shock the shit out of you capacitors.
That's well, no, that's not awesome.
They hurt.
You should all switch to LED.
Yeah, well, they talked about it.
It wouldn't get bright, would it?
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't
because
work.
You can't. It's not hot enough to melt the ice off the glass.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, yep. See, I dealt with switching to LEDs in a plasma freezer, so minus 40 degrees.
Right.
With wind chill probably closer to minus 60.
You had wind chill in a freezer?
Yeah.
Oh, the fan.
Well, yeah, the fans are blowing.
Okay.
A lot of wind chill. Ridiculous airflow. But
that took me a moment.
We switched to LEDs because the incandescents lasted 2 weeks, and the were getting harder to find, the quality ones. Fluorescents never got warm enough to actually really even turn on.
Right.
And LEDs, from the research I was doing, would last 2 years because compared to 20 years at normal outside temperatures, because of the at the lower temperature they burn brighter. Right. And they burn out. But if they don't even melt the ice and you have ice building up, then that doesn't work.
Yeah, our strobe lights, the line that help them line up, were 5,000 volt halogens. So those things, they're bright and they're hot.
Yeah, that would melt the ice.
Yes, it would.
What was your favorite food?
That's a hard one.
You'd rather talk about food than...
You guys are boring the shit out of me.
Cold temperature illumination?
Oh my God.
So food was actually halfway decent down there. It's galley food, basically cafeteria style. The staff down there worked really hard to make food taste good with the crap they're given. So props to them.
Nice.
I think maybe the favorites... Well, we did have a really good midwinter dinner, and they served duck, which was amazing.
Ooh.
Yeah, but that was the only really good meal we had. So, I mean, we did have Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner, and that was good, but that midwinter was amazing. Of course, they only had to serve 138 people, so
they could spend a little extra to get that duck fat in your belly.
Yeah, so what's the population like there?
So during the winter, anywhere between 125 and 150, depending on what's going on that winter. Like this winter, they'll probably have 200 because there's a lot of projects going on. During the summer, anywhere between 800 to 1,200.
That's a big
depending on
population
projects.
difference.
Yeah. During the winter, we're basically there to keep the place from dying or burning down. That's really what we do.
Okay.
During the summer, that's when all the science happens.
And so you're just making sure that things don't die and burn down while the science is happening.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to do the science.
There's a lot of science.
I've heard of a couple. Actually, I've indirectly known a couple people who've gone down to Antarctica. It's like they need grad students to just go do the heavy lifting, and it's really easy to sign up to get to be one of those grad students if you know who to talk to. So, like, my sister knew somebody who just off the cuff just disappeared for like 3 months, came back with pictures of penguins, and we're like, what?
So does the South Pole Station, is it operated year-round too?
Yeah, it is operated year-round. I'm trying to get the numbers out of my... There's a couple hundred there in the summer, and then it goes down to 50 in the winter.
That's a really small crew.
Scott Base, which was the New Zealand base right next door, they go down to 12 to 15 in the winter.
Oh.
But they only have 50 in the summer. They're a very small crew.
Okay.
And there's some stations that go down to like 7, 8 people. Depends on the size of the station.
What kind of sciencing are they doing in these teeny tiny little crews versus your big base?
Well, it just depends on the station. Like I know, like Rothera Station did a lot of astronomical stuff, and Rothera is the British station, I think, but they're way on the other side.
Okay.
They do a lot of.
Do they have iced tea time?
Probably. I don't know. Yeah, it's a random bunch of science. A lot of climate science goes on down there. A lot of astrophysics. A lot of
climate science that
astronomy.
Everybody wants to ignore.
Right. That's mainly what goes on down there. Is a lot of that stuff. They'll do experiments for like space landers and the moon.
Oh,
or
really?
The Mars landers. They tested down there in some of the dry valleys.
Oh, that's cool.
Because it's the closest place
cold
to be like Mars.
Yeah.
You know, it's completely dry. It's really cold, and there's nobody around.
Yeah. Yeah, that would actually be pretty comparable in a lot of ways.
Even the soil is very Mars-like because it's mostly volcanic rock. So it's still very granular and crunchy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Not something you want to get in your eye.
What did your crew do?
Well, electricians, we just take care of the place, make sure everything works.
But what was the base's main purpose?
So while I was down there were like 7 or 8 different sciences going on. We had the LIDAR, which was a laser that shot up to determine the temperature and makeup of the high cirrus clouds or something like that. I forgot which clouds he was measuring. That was the winter project. During the summer, they were doing climate science on how temperature differences affect the breeding of local fish.
That's okay. Sounds boring, but makes a huge impact. Yeah.
Right. And then every year they have the Ponganis Penguin Ranch where they catch and tag penguins.
Really?
Give them an extra little kick on the way out.
Yeah, it's literally a ranch. They fence them in and they drill a hole so they can still get in and out of the ice. But they make sure they're far enough away from any other holes so that they can't swim to another one.
Oh.
Well, what about the poor penguin is the first one to jump in there and figure that one out?
Well, they kind of know. Somehow the penguins know
they sense
how far.
it.
Yeah, they have. That's one of the things they're studying is how they know.
Okay, so you can't
where the holes are.
You can't shoo a penguin out of your way, but they can capture them and tag them.
Tase them.
They have permission to walk up behind them, grab them, and put them in a bag.
What?
Oh, Jesus.
There's some videos online. I don't know exactly where they are, but
bag them, boys. Oh my God, that's terrifying.
Yeah, and the penguins don't like it.
Dude, are these the emperor penguins? That would be kind of difficult.
Yeah, these are emperors.
Jesus.
Yeah, these are 3 foot tall, 90-pound birds.
Yeah.
God damn, that'd be...
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The Adelaide's just,
it's like trying to wrestle a 10-year-old.
Yeah. I have a hard enough time with a 2-year-old. Jesus.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I want to see them turn around and do it to the scientists someday. We've been watching you guys. We know what you do.
Yeah.
Throw you in a
that's kind of
hole.
the science that goes on.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. Thank you. That's neat.
Did you get to
Yeah.
help out with any of the science, or were you just kept busy with the electricianing?
In a roundabout sort of way, one of the things we do every year is set up the aquarium for the climate science so they can test the fishes. We have to set up all the pumps and make sure all the water is running properly, and that's all part of what we do every August before the scientists even get there. And
Okay.
this year was incredibly frustrating because we had a lot of power outages, and we have to keep those pumps running all the time. So we had some serious power issues, so we had to go down and hook up emergency generators to these pumps to keep them running. Oh, that was a very long day.
Yeah.
Oh,
That was a 20-hour day.
Ooh.
Yeah. Our main power generators wouldn't sync up, so they kept shutting down. And they had to shut down the entire town for like 9 or 10 hours to get everything back online.
Oh,
did they try turning it off and on again?
Yeah.
Yes, they
So
did.
yeah, that was a long day.
Yeah. Well, and when you're talking about a base with up to, what do you say, 1,200 people?
Yeah,
at the top?
we're probably around 900 about that time.
That really is a town.
Yeah, it's a mining town.
Did it start out as one?
No, it started out as a naval base
Okay.
or a naval station.
Huh.
In fact, we still have 2 of the buildings from the original naval station. They were built in 1956. One was the officers club, one was the enlisteds club.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. Now let me see if I get this right. The officers club is now the coffee house, and the enlisteds club is the fitness room. We call it the gerbil gym. It's where all the bikes and treadmills are.
And so
Do they spell your name right when there's only 900 people in town?
Usually.
all right, and then of course it's Southern Hemisphere, so winter is Northern Hemisphere summer.
Right.
So right now
it's winter down there. The seasons are we really only have 2 seasons down there, summer and winter. There's no shoulder seasons. Summer is late September through the end of February, whenever the last plane of February leaves. That's the end of summer. And the rest is winter.
And you have literally one solar day, right?
Not at McMurdo. We have, so the first sunset is usually around February 21st. And then the last sunset is middle of April. And then the first sunrise is usually August 21st-ish. And then the last sunrise will be sometime in October.
Okay, so you do have a brief period where the sun does actually go down.
Right.
And back up.
Right. Because the way the mountains are set up and stuff like that, and our horizons, and, we're, I don't remember how many degrees. We're like, what was I want to say 71, but that's not right. Like 71 degrees, but I think we're a little further south than that.
Did you get to see lots of pretty southern lights?
I saw them once, and they were very beautiful.
Once?
Once. We didn't have a good year for the auroras.
I would feel so cheated. You're like,
I know.
Up to my freaking neck and annoying ass penguins, but at least you get to see the sun and lights once. What are they called again? They're
the austral auroras.
Auroras. That's cool. He's looking at maps. We're gonna lose him.
77 degrees.
Yeah, thank you.
Minus 77.83 degrees.
Right. I knew it was something close to that. So we're not quite at 90 like the pole. Now, the pole has one day and one night, but their sunset also lasts for like 3.5 weeks.
Oh. And the air station is, according to Google Maps, on the water.
It's actually on the ice shelf.
Okay.
Which is on the water.
I mean,
it's 70 feet of ice.
6 here, half a dozen there, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you're on an island that is not technically on the continent, but
that is
connected
correct.
by ice.
Right. Yeah, the Ross ice shelf connects us to the continent.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the map now too.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you get down there, you're like, oh, I'm on Antarctica, and people have been there for like 20 years. Like, nope, you're not here yet.
Keep going.
And the closest I got was Black Island, which is the other side of the ice shelf, but still not quite on continent.
Damn.
Oh, so you never actually got onto the continent itself?
No, I would probably end up there next year because I have to go out to Marble Point, which is on continent.
Oh, yay. Okay.
Nice.
Barely, but it's like an outpost that is literally on the coast, but it's on the continent.
I bet their beaches are really shitty.
They are pristine and white.
Well, I mean, that's something. A lot of people pay a lot of money for white beaches.
That is true. Of course, the ocean is also wide at the same time. So.
You can't really tell where one ends and the other begins, but it's there.
So you're on an island looking at the landmass, and you can't tell because it's all ice.
Well, I mean, you can tell because we see the Transantarctic Mountains.
Oh, okay.
So that's where the land is.
All right. So you got there in summer,
right?
To fill in for somebody who had to leave.
Right.
And then you stayed on through winter.
Yeah. Originally, I was supposed to have a 4-month contract, and then winter position was still open. And I was like, well, I need money. It's a good job. I'll go ahead and stay for winter. So I applied, got the job. And then about halfway through winter, the foreman then said, you should apply for the summer foreman position, because he wanted to make sure that when he came back this year, everything was working well, because the previous summer foreman was shit.
Mm.
So
that's what happens when you do too good of a job.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Okay, so you did a summer, a winter, and a summer.
Correct. I did 396 days.
Wow.
God, it's like you're counting down a prison sentence.
It felt like it that last month or so.
That's a long time.
30 days. Yeah, it is.
That's a long time to be in a town of 150 to 950 people.
It is. It's a very long time.
How did your family handle all this?
Frustrated.
Wait, no. Better yet, how are they handling you now that you're back at home?
They're actually quite happy I'm home.
Aw, that's sweet.
Yeah. So
you're still in the honeymoon phase of you being back home, and give them another month, and they're like, seriously? We got used to you not being here. It's like all those people who are stuck at home with their cats, and their cats are all pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily, I'm used to this isolation thing, so the coronavirus is like just normal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then what was it like having constant daylight when you first got there?
That is probably the most frustrating part. So, normally when you go out at night and you're like keeping track of time and you look out and you're like, oh, it's dark, I should probably go home. Right? That doesn't happen because it's always light. So you'll be out and it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and you look at your watch and like, oh, damn.
Like you need
to 5.
You need to have alarms set just to tell you what freaking time it is.
Yeah. Well, when the bar's closed, then it's time to go home. That's basically it.
Can't stay here.
At what time does the bar close?
During the week, 11 and midnight on Saturday.
Okay,
that's reasonable.
Yeah. It really throws off all your timing, and your rhythm is completely off for like the first month. You have no idea, what time it is or anything until you figure out where the sun is in the sky.
But then there'd also just be the fact that you're operating on New Zealand time there, right?
Right. So I'm already 20 hours ahead. So it's really strange. So you're jet lagged when you get there by a day because you just lost a day of time.
And if you went in January, you went from winter in Montana to summer in Antarctica,
which is kind of the same.
Same diff.
It was 20 degrees the day I left Montana. It was 20 degrees the day I arrived in Antarctica.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
That's just messed up.
Yeah.
Fuck
and
time.
I got a little vacation.
Time is relative right there.
Yeah. I got a little vacation of like 80 degrees for 2 days in Christchurch.
How was that?
Oh.
That must have been a relief.
It was fun. Yeah. I mean, the last chance to smell flowers and trees and grass.
Oh. Still, New Zealand, no better place to do it.
Okay,
yeah,
so then
it's a beautiful place.
I guess the real question would be, which was weirder, the constant daylight, constant darkness, or the lack of trees, flowers, and dirt?
I think the hardest thing to adjust to was the constant daylight. Like I said, it's just always light and it's very annoying, and you're trying to sleep and there's sun out. Constant night is fine because if you're inside, you don't really notice it's dark outside too much.
Yeah, it's probably colder.
It's a lot colder, yeah. And then the lack of trees and flowers, it gets, you start to miss them, but it's not really hard on you. But you do go up to the carpentry shop so you can smell wood, though.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's either that or diesel. So those are the two smells you get.
Surprised people didn't hang out with the cooks more often, but they probably also smelled like wood and diesel. Like they did the best they could.
Nice. Yeah, they did. Yeah. But yeah, it was nice when I got back to Christchurch to smell everything because they were in the height of summer when I got back.
Mm-hmm.
So everything was all bloomed, and you could, and hearing bugs was an interesting thing because I hadn't heard bugs
That's
in
amazing.
13 months.
Oh, and birds? That would have been so weird.
Birds. Well, we had birds. We had skua and penguin, but they're not like songbirds.
Songbirds.
Yeah.
Winter, and then the only animals you would have been seeing would have been birds.
Seals.
Oh, you did have seals. Okay.
We have seals. We have leopard seals.
Oh, neat.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Their babies are cute.
Yeah, they're just big flat blobs that sit on the ice.
Are they
don't
also
really
assholes?
Well, they're like couch potatoes.
Okay.
They don't do much.
They're my brethren.
So you just
sit there.
You just stay away from
over.
them and they don't get in your way much.
Yeah, they stay off the road, which is fine. And then after the icebreaker gets there, the whales come in because they want to hunt the seals and the penguins.
So was it, let's see, so orca? I mean, what?
Orca and mink are two main
cool.
whales.
That is so
I got to see some orcas, and I just missed seeing a mink whale. So
All right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not white, so.
Yeah.
yeah, it's something that's black and white, but that's penguins too.
And then the icebreaker, when it comes in, that'd be summertime.
Yep, they come in usually late January. The icebreaker comes in. The Polar Star, I think, is the name of it. It's a Coast Guard vessel. They come in and break the ice so that our cargo ship can get in.
Okay.
And then we have our cargo ship that docks. And that is the most frustrating time of the year because you got all the vessel stuff going on, all the trucks going on all over the place. And they also shut down the bars and stopped selling alcohol.
Why is that?
A few years ago, some of the vessel folks made some trouble, and they said no more during vessel.
Oh.
Somebody ruined it for everyone, huh?
Yes. And this year was an incredibly annoying vessel season because we had 2 vessels.
And
yeah.
So you get 1 or 2 cargo ships a year.
Right. Which contain the majority of the supplies for the next year.
And then everything else is on a 757 or a C-130.
C-17 half of the year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. C-17s act as the major cargo flight. And then the C-757 and Airbus A310 and then the LC-130s act as people transports and sometimes cargo.
All right. And there's a U.S. post office there, it looks like.
There is a post office. I did stamp my passport while I was there, so I got the Antarctic post stamp. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but yeah, we do get mail, which is good. Not reliable,
right,
but we do get mail.
Because that's a U.S. station, you would have had to go through customs.
It's an APO. Yeah, it's an APO.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I got back to Christchurch, we had to go through customs. I'm like, I didn't go anywhere. I went to Antarctica. Why am I going back through customs? But yeah, I had to go through customs.
Okay.
Do you have any fruit or vegetables, or have you been on a farm?
I was like, yeah, I've got some fruit from Antarctica. Yeah.
Here's a mango. It's just a snowball. Did anybody have any? It's got to be incredibly mentally fatiguing.
Yes.
Is there good mental health care there, or?
We have what are called I'm trying to think of the word. Colleague mentorships, and it's not mentor. I can't remember the word,
A buddy system.
we have people that volunteer to act as, pseudo therapist. So if you're having issues, you can go talk to them, right? It's usually HR type people, people who are good at listening skills and things like that. They sign up.
Oh, those poor suckers who put listening skills on their resume. They're like, you have no idea what you just signed up for.
Yeah. And I didn't need them because I'm pretty well adjusted apparently and can handle stress, but they're really useful when people get, depressed because you're 8,000 miles away from your family. You have limited contact because our internet sucks. And, sometimes you just need somebody to talk to, and that's who you go to.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you're literally across the world from your family.
Yeah. I think we did numbers. I was like 8,900 miles.
That's a long ways.
Yeah. About as far as you can get.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah. It's frustrating.
I'm just surprised they didn't have any professionals or.
I mean, there are people
throw a pastor at you.
We did. Well, during the summer, they have the Air Force chaplain. That's about as good as it gets. There are people there that do that sort of stuff for a living. They come down and do something else. So, like our.
Oh, okay. Okay. So they're there for a totally different reason, but they happen to have this very important skill set.
Right. So apparently, I found this out. Our rec department manager, who oversees all the recreation, is an MD. And she only comes down to do rec so that she doesn't do doctoring stuff. I'm like, you're an MD and you're here handing out bicycles.
I don't blame her.
But then if anybody were to yell, is there a doctor?
I would just do the mom response. Are you on fire, bleeding, or is anything broken out of the skin?
Yeah.
No?
So,
okay. Yeah. Here's your bike.
But we did have, doctors on station. We have a clinic, and it's manned by. So our summer doctor was a former Air Force physician who specialized in MCI events, mass casualty, and stuff like that. That's what he does. And our winter doctor for this year was one of those. He's a Doctors Without Borders doctor, so he just does this sort of stuff all the time.
Just weird, random.
Yeah, he was telling us about all the time he's spending like Borneo or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Like, cool.
Going from really, really hot to really, really cold.
That would be kind of cool, though.
Yeah, he took off for
one of the world's most prolific animal species condensed areas to nothing.
Yeah. But what he did this year was he left in October and he came back 6 weeks later to go be the doctor at South Pole for the summer. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Wow.
And next week I'm going to the Congo. Jeez. What an interesting life.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the rules. If, you have to be, you get 14 months that you can be on continent, and then you have to take off at least 6 weeks.
Oh, okay.
That's to keep people from creating. Yeah, that's keep people from creating a residence.
Right.
So
you had to leave when you left.
Yeah, I had 1 month left, and I would have been over had I waited for the plane.
Right. So you left because you had to leave.
Well, my contract was up, and I really didn't want to stay any longer.
Oh, okay.
Huh. I can just imagine homeless people like trying to like skirt the rules. They're really concerned about that there.
Well, it's weird. A lot of people will just go travel for 6 weeks and come back.
All right. That's as good as a home as anywhere, huh?
Yeah. There are people who've been there, 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. They'll just take 6 weeks off and come back. And that's their life. They everything they own is basically in Antarctica, and they just kind of travel around for 6 weeks and then come back.
Just put it in storage.
Yeah.
And hop on the plane.
Yeah. A lot of people do that. It's interesting.
Wow.
That is super cool.
I mean, I've got a box of storage down there since I'm going back, and then I don't have to carry as much stuff back with me.
Including those stupid boots.
And when are you going back?
September.
Okay. So you're taking more than 6 weeks.
Yeah, I'm taking the winter off. So because I'm the foreman and there's already a winter foreman, so I don't need to be there.
All right. And how many electricians do they have?
So this year I had 9. This winter they're going to have 4, and it'll fluctuate depending on what's going on. They've had as many as 20 when they had big projects going on.
Okay.
So, like right now, they're rebuilding the station. So they're going to be shipping in a ton of electricians, but they're for a different contractor, not the company I work for.
Mm.
So they're going to be the construction electricians. They're just going to build things.
And so they hire people for everything there, right?
Yep. Everything.
Like anything that you would need to run a town that people live at.
Right.
Completely isolated.
Yep. We have heavy equipment operators. We have supply people. We have the galley staff, which are cooks, and then stewies, which are dining room attendants and dishwashers. You have people, someone in the summer, their entire job is the post office and cargo. We have people that are designated just for cargo for the planes, because we have so many planes that come in during the summer. What else we got? We got a food and beverage manager, and that's his entire job is to manage the bars and the food that goes in and out.
Wow. So when you have a really shitty meal, you're like, string them up.
Yeah. We learned quickly where the meal plan comes from, and that comes from the NSF. So we get to blame the Science Foundation for our crappy meals.
But damn that duck.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
All right.
There's all the trades are down there. Basically, if you need it to survive, you're down there.
So probably janitorial staff and...
Yep. Power plant electricians and mechanics. People run generators. We even have our own mechanics on site. So,
because the generators are diesel, right?
Right.
So you'd have to have diesel engine mechanics.
Right. Yeah. Well, you have power plant mechanics that are separate from the diesel mechanics, because the power plants are very specific.
Oh, okay.
And which is different from our heavy diesel mechanics, which are different from our light vehicle mechanics, which are different from our small engine mechanics. So, yeah.
So lots of mechanics.
Yeah.
All right.
Good time for all.
Yeah.
Especially for mechanics.
Yes.
But aren't electricians just mechanics for electrons? Really?
We're wizards.
Oh, I like that better.
We deal with a magical substance no one really understands and make it do things the right way.
Dude, I have no idea. I mean, I have a theoretical idea, but I can't.
That's all I have is a theory.
My mind just cannot wrap around electricity.
Well, then it gets really weird when you start getting into alternating current and the fact that the electrons really just move back and forth, and but current flows, and that's just weird.
All I know is that someone can use it to kill an elephant. That's all I got.
It is possible, yes.
Or a penguin.
You probably could, yeah.
Telling you, man, penguin tasers.
One of the biggest issues we had down there as electricians is there is no proper grounding down there due to the fact that it's volcanic rock, which is basically glass.
Mm-hmm.
We can't get a good ground. So there's so much static electricity. You'll walk by like a doorknob and it'll shoot out like 6 inches.
Oh,
just to zap you. You're like, ow, damn, that hurt.
Super dry air.
Yep.
Metal buildings.
Yeah. With
on
no
an insulator.
Dude, that was totally happened to me the other day. Everything shocked me.
I lost a computer due to that. Thank you very much.
Oh,
First 2 weeks there, I brought my really nice computer down, my laptop. Went to plug into Ethernet port and zap. I was like, son of a bitch.
Oh.
So I ordered a really robust one and sent it down.
So
yeah, there aren't enough. What are those wristbands called? They're supposed to keep you.
But
oh God,
grounded to what if there's no real grounding?
Right. So you get grounded to building steel. That's about it. We actually have a special dispensation from the NSF about grounding from the National Electrical Code, saying we don't have to follow certain grounding rules because they don't apply.
Because it's physically impossible.
Because
it is
physics.
Yeah. Like I would imagine your best way of dissipating like static would be like what they do on airplanes with and hope the wind pulls it away.
Yeah, I mean that's really about it. We use grounds in the buildings and stuff like that to minimize it, but there's only so much we can do.
Yeah. Oh, weird. What would you say as far as like just normal living life is the most disruptive there?
Having a roommate.
Oh, yeah.
Most people, once they get out of college, never have a roommate again. Like one you have to actually share a bedroom with.
Yeah, no, you don't live with somebody unless you're fucking them. That's my rule.
Yeah. Down there, you have a roommate who shares a room with you that you both sleep in.
Bunk mates.
Yeah. And in some cases, you have 3 other roommates.
Oh,
it's one of those, like 4 people with a central living area, or is it just 4 beds
4
crammed?
beds. 4 beds and a wardrobe for each person in a, what size is that? It's like a 15 by 15 room.
That sucks.
but you've got plenty of other spaces to go to get away from those people.
Usually,
like an entire like continent, basically.
Yeah.
Well, no, you never make it to the continent, but there's a whole lot of white.
Yeah, there's hiking. I mean, you can go to the bars, you can go to the library, you can just go walk around town, go do cool stuff. The beautiful thing is you work 6 nines, so you're only in your room basically to sleep most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not horrible. And Sundays are free days.
Do you get to go ice fishing?
No.
Oh, no fun.
And what are the storms like?
They are rough depending on the time of year. So during the winter, they're mainly just cold and wind and a lot of blowing snow. So it can be like -20 outside and a wind will come in and it'll be like a 50 or 60 knot wind. And then you're suddenly at -75 wind chill. So you're stuck inside because they'll call what we call a con 1 because there's different conditions based on weather and visibility. Con 3 is normal. You can see and you're not going to die outside. That's basically
that's the best they can offer.
Yeah. So you're free to walk around, do whatever you want. Con 2 is when visibility gets less than a quarter mile and the wind is kicked up to like, I want to say 40 knots and it's getting cold somewhere around -50.
Is there like direct linearity between visibility and wind speed?
Usually. In most cases, it's because of the blowing snow. In some cases, it's just because it's snowing so damn hard you can't see.
Right. Okay.
And that's, But 99% of the time, it's because of blowing snow.
Because it's a desert there.
Yeah.
All right.
So all the snow, most of the snow we get blows in from the continent. It's actually ice. It's not really snow. It rarely snows. It just makes ice.
Are there different words for all the different types of ice that you have to deal with?
No, not as far as general ice. There's, the ice shelf, the sea ice, and then the fast ice. Those are different types of ice, but that's all on the Ross Sea and all that stuff.
But there definitely is a difference between proper snow and water vapor in the air that precipitates out.
Yeah. Yeah. When wind is involved, the ice hurts a lot more.
Yeah.
It has a scouring effect on things.
Oh, God. Yeah. Yep.
It's like getting hit by a sandblaster.
Oh, God. Do you have to?
It's fun.
Do you ever have to deal with the volcanic, like, dirt getting caught up in that? Oh, that. Ugh.
Yeah. That's the other issue we have is why we wear goggles a lot down there or sunglasses, depending on time of year. That's one thing you don't want in your eye.
Damn, that would hurt.
Yeah, I got an ice crystal in my eye one day and I was like, I'm going to die for like a minute. And then it melted.
The volcanic rock is like, pussy.
Yeah, I haven't gotten ice blown in my face, but yeah, when you're in those really cold temperatures, it does weird things.
Yeah. I think the worst day I had as far as the cold was when my nose hairs froze. That hurts.
Was it instantaneous? Like you step outside and you do that breathe in through your nose and it sticks?
Yeah, pretty much.
Except
my beard and mustache would... Right. Oh. Yeah. The beard and mustache would freeze over, it'd take 30, 40 seconds for that. But that instant nose hair freeze, that is just, no. Not something
I imagine it would feel like having all of your nose hairs plucked at the same time.
Yeah, because they all just kind of just clinch together. It's just horrible.
The weirdest I ever dealt with in a freezer was my contacts getting cold enough that when I stepped outside of the freezer, they fogged up. Contact lenses fogging up. That was
That's
weird.
I didn't have
bizarre.
I did have my eyelashes with icicles though.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was that hour and a half we were out there in -30 with 30-knot winds blowing directly at my face. That was good fun.
Oh.
Good time.
We were working on some heat trace under a building and just got to get it working because that's the main water source for this building that we're working on. It's like, yay.
Wow. All right. So we're out of time.
Oh, man.
Yeah. It's amazing how quickly that goes, but it's late here. And
yeah.
So you're going back.
Right.
And you were doing a podcast pretty early on in your time there, but you haven't released any episodes recently.
One of the problems there is the lack of internet during the summer. It is so slow; it's almost impossible to do much. I think towards the
give
end
them
of summer,
a freaking
I'd worked
break,
out.
Dustin.
Yeah, basically, we're 1,000 people sharing a 20 gig uplink.
Ouch.
So, yeah.
And there's one dude who has to release his podcast episode.
Yeah, so during the winter, it was a little easier because there were only 100 people sharing it.
Okay.
I am thinking about redoing it when I get down there because now that I know what I need, I can take the proper stuff down with me to do it right. Before I was doing it on a tablet and a wardrobe. So,
yeah. All right. So Sparky on Ice might come back.
Yeah.
Cool.
Way to put the pressure on, Dustin.
Thanks, man.
Okay, that was Sparky on Ice was one of those few podcasts that when I seed an episode, it goes into the next spot. That not just waiting for it to come. It would always go next. Yeah. It was I was definitely enjoying hearing about the more mundane stuff was things I was finding more interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm understanding because you're like the third podcaster to ask me if it's coming back. So I think I'm going to have to do it.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and especially
Screw you guys, I'm popular online.
Especially for people who have watched The Thing or any other movie, if there even are other movies other than The Thing and The Thing. Well, both the things.
Both the things.
Well, there was one other movie that came out 5 or 6 years ago about a marshal that went down to Antarctica to investigate a murder.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember what it was.
But it just makes it seem getting to hear about somebody who does a thing that most people have only seen in the movies is always interesting. And like one of the kind of the fascinating things in The Thing is just the weirdness with their, like, just how they're having to live their lives with the radios and the rooms and the walking around. And
yeah, that part they actually got pretty close.
All right. Nice.
Well, they no dogs to comfort you.
Yes, that's true.
All right. Well, if people do want to find Sparky on Ice, even though it is on hiatus, where can they go?
Trying to remember. I think we're still on Spreaker, and I know we're still on Apple iTunes podcast thing. I don't know because we couldn't get Apple iTunes down there.
All right.
Oh, man. So many limitations that you just take for granted.
And sparkyonice.xyz?
Yes, .xyz. I figured that was, since I'm at the end of the world, I'll be at the end of the alphabet.
We missed the one question that was actually relevant to the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
What how much religion is there in Antarctica?
So, due to it being a government site, religion in public is not one of those things you do. There's a chapel down there called the Chapel of Snows, and there's a chaplain that the Air Force sends down in the summers. But as far as actual overt religious stuff, not really much. Most of the people down there are either not religious or they just don't care about it too much.
Okay.
There is, I want to say there was a group of Pastafarians down there. So
very nice.
Yeah. But yeah, religion's not really a big deal down there. It's just, there's not even church service during the winter. That's how not big a deal it is.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah. Cool.
I'm glad I thought of the question after we turned everything off for a second.
All righty. Well, thank you so much.
Yep. I was glad to do it.
All righty. Well, I hope you enjoyed the interview, and I hope you stay safe. Stay home and, stay safe. I also want to, we've got a live stream coming up in about 2 weeks. We'll be getting details out on that. I need to start working on getting some details set up for that because that is coming up pretty quick. And that'll be for episode 350. So watch out for the details on that. We'll definitely be talking about it next week. But yeah, stay safe. Stay home as much as you can. If you can, work from home. Comply with all the orders you're getting from the government to minimize the spread of this pandemic because it's already out of control and we don't want it to get worse. One way I've on the SGU, the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, they talked about it in a very interesting way of thinking of it with the social distancing and self-isolation. Don't think of it in terms of you're trying to avoid getting it from somebody else. Think about it in terms of you already have it and you're asymptomatic and you don't want to kill somebody else that you see outside. It really puts it into a different perspective. And this is one of those where a lot of people who get it don't have symptoms, but they do spread it. And I had been planning on doing some fundraising for some upgrades with the episode 350, and will not be doing that. The big reason is right now the economy is on very unsure footing, and I work for a hospital. Our finances are stable right now, and they are going to continue to be stable and are probably more stable than most other people's at the moment. So yeah, hang on to your money right now. This is going to be one of those rare occasions where if you want to support the show, I'm not going to encourage you to become a new patron right now. There are organizations out there. Modest Needs is one that is trying to help with people making sure they can pay their rent. So yeah, if you want to kick some money somewhere, yeah, go there. We don't need it right now. And again, stay safe. And until next week, remember, not all those who wander are lost. Thank you for listening to another episode of Atheist Nomads. You can find show notes and contact information at atheistnomads.com. Follow us on Twitter at Atheist Nomads, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Atheist Nomads. Please subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or your podcatcher of choice, and while you're there, feel free to leave us a review. Theme music is courtesy of Sturdy Fred. Until next time, this has been the Atheist Nomads.